Thanks for joining us. My name is Chris Bircher. I'm with CTC Software, and today we are going to present a workflow for taking your building programs and bringing those into Revit and doing a little, I guess, some creation, some validation, some kind of back and forth comparison analysis, if you want. Using some of our Express tools. Today we will be covering tools, the Spreadsheet Link and Room Family Manager. So actually they should, oops, come on, there we go. So a lot of medium to larger size projects or buildings tend to have a set of building requirements. Which oftentimes is in an Excel file of some sort, or a very well thought out Word doc maybe, if you're able to get your hands on those or create one yourself. But how are you guys going about managing that? How are you checking the design area versus the actual modeled, or the modeled area, or proposed area versus designed area, however you want to look at it, and what various other types of information, the room types or space type, the department it's associated with. There's usually you need so many different rooms for a specific type, or say like in a hospital, you might need 6 operating rooms and 4 emergency room space type rooms, 25 patient care rooms. You get the picture, right? 15 nurse stations, and so on and so forth. How are you capturing that information that's in the Excel spreadsheet and getting that into your Revit projects? And then on top of that, how are you managing that equipment? There's usually a list of required equipment that goes along with it. How are we getting that into our projects as well, and making sure we're not missing anything? So this webinar today is intended to get you pointed in the right direction for setting up the workflow using Spreadsheet Link and Room Family Manager to get that going. So today what we're going to cover is we're going to go through the tools. We're going to set up some templates and establish a workflow that can be reused again in the future. So if you do a lot of healthcare, or you do a lot of multifamily housing, or you do a lot of educational stuff, we want to be able to make sure we can set up a template that can be used on future projects of that same type. So if you are a large firm and you do healthcare, or you do hospitals and you do clinics, those might be 2 different templates. And you do educational, whether it's a college versus a middle school, 2 different templates. So at the end of the day, if you take the time to set this up, you might have 6 or 7 different templates to go through. But that means then we can start grabbing some of this data and getting a good head start on some of our projects. And then part of setting up that template, I'm going to show you how they work, how the tools work with said templates, with both tools, and how we can do some validation of this information here. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump right in. I'm not big on doing a ton of PowerPoint stuff. Don't want to put anyone to sleep while they're eating lunch. So I'm just going to use an out-of-the-box file here for this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do the setup, right? So you would go ahead and open up your template or your starter project, and we need to make sure that we have the appropriate information inside of Spreadsheet Link here. So first thing I'm going to do is add parameters. Now, in this case, or in any case that you would do, I would highly recommend using shared parameters for this, because that way you can have You can build additional tags to document this information if necessary. You know, things like design area. You might want to show that as part of the room along with the actual area next to it. So live on the page, you can see if you're within the range, and you can also build a calculated value associated with that too if you wanted to show the difference right there on the tag if you want, right? So some of the stuff you could do directly in the Revit model once we get this information, and I'll kind of explain that as we get going here. No, if you wanted to go ahead and use shared parameters, by all means, go ahead. To speed this up just a tad, I'm just going to go ahead and create them as project parameters for this because I'm not going to tag it. I will schedule it. So we want this to be, so the first parameter we're going to create is design area or proposed area, whatever you prefer. And I do want this to be the area type of parameter because we are actually going to compare square footages with each other. And then I'm going to group this under dimensions for now. You could use identity data, something along those lines. And then I'm going to attach it to rooms. Now, you could, in theory, use spaces for this if you wanted to. You could also, if you wanted to do this more on the MEP side, there's various pieces of equipment and devices that are associated to these rooms as well. You could definitely take this example that I'm showing you and use it for mechanical equipment or electrical equipment and devices and fixtures that would go into a space. It doesn't this is not just architectural, even though I am using an architectural example. So yeah, you could use spaces or areas or all of them if you really want. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one. Then for today, that's really all I would need, but you could go through and add a handful of other things. There may be a specific program name that you have. So in the spreadsheets, it's called one thing, but in your documentation sets that you create, you might call it something else, right? And you don't want to go through a process of renaming all your rooms halfway down the road, or like once you get out of DD into CD, right? So we can always generate a secondary parameter for this called program name, if that helps. If you wanted to go down that road, you don't have to stick with what we got. You might need a parameter called room type. That is going to be text. I group that under, where'd it go? Identity data. And eventually, and you might want to, maybe you call it space type instead, for example. And eventually down the road, you may want to create a calculated value for area difference. So like if you fall outside of a range, if it's too big or too small, we're going to want to know that. So later on down the road, we may create a calculated value for that. And again, I mentioned you can put that in tags as well. So another thing we got to do real quick is we just have to place a room in your project. So I'm in the floor plan, drop in a room. Yes, we know, not enclosed, we get it, but it's still placed. And that's all we need for this setup. And the reason why is we need Spreadsheet Link to register that there is something in the model for it to give us any data back. Without this, we're going to be done with our setup real quick. Okay, so now once we get that placed, let's go ahead and open up Spreadsheet Link. So if it's on our CTC software tab under the BIM project suite. And of course, got to save the file first. So let me go ahead and save this as planning. And try that again. It's always a good idea to save your work. All right. So what we get are two massive windows, so big that they don't even pop up on the main screen. So here, let's try this again. Here we go. So we got our Spreadsheet Link window. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and find my rooms category. double click that to bring it over here to the right. And you can see on the preview directly behind me here, it's already starting to record some data. This first line here is the room that we placed. Again, I would get nothing had I not done that. And we need something here to get this process going. Okay. Now, in this report that we're going to create, in a sense, this empty report, we want to bring a few things. Things like room number potentially. You know, there may be you may want to, or may have the opportunity to implement the numbering convention now if you'd like. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a part of this process. Definitely the name. And had you created some additional parameters for a program name or anything along those lines, we'd start bringing that information in. We'd want to bring that too. So I did have, so we may want department and where I did room type. And then we'll need the areas. So we will want design area for sure, because that will definitely be something that's coming in from our building program. And again, any other information that you would need to bring from an outside source into our Revit projects is something we should get in this list right now. So if you didn't finish it, you know, go back, add the parameter, come back in and get this going. We definitely need to make sure we have that data before we get too far ahead of ourselves. You know, and then if there's, I mean, this list can be as long or as short as you need it to be for the work that you're doing. So, and then what we want to do from over here is you can actually click inside this preview window here, and there's a couple of things we need to do. Is I want to create a new room in this row. So I just want to create just one as part of the new construction phase. You know, and depending on the type of project, you could have multiple phases of construction where new things are happening. If those phases are set up in the Revit model, those will show here. So we can go ahead and say, well, these rooms are all going to be attached to phase 1, and these ones will be for phase 2, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and click create. What this does is it's going to give me this line item here. And moving forward, we're going to use this to kind of populate some of this information here. So I'll show you how this works in a second. So what we're going to do next is save this. So I'm going to hit save, and I am going to call it room list. And actually we can call it room program list. Save that. And I'm going to open it. And while that's opening, I'm going to come back to Spreadsheet Link, and I'm going to save these settings for later, just in case. Room list. Okay, thank you. And now I can close it. Yes, we did save. All right. So now in Excel, this is where I can begin to populate this list. Now, you're going to you create as many as you need to, or as many different lists as you need to. For this example, we're going to keep it nice and simple. So ultimately what we end up doing is clearing out this row of data so that I have a fresh start, right? So, and actually before you can clear anything out, we have to unlock it. I forgot about that. That's what that message was saying there. So if you see, oh, it didn't do it. Anyway, there is a, it's protected. So you have to hit Unprotect Sheet. And we have to use the super secret magical password of password, all lowercase. And you could have actually, I should show you this. We could actually have disabled that here inside of Revit. There's an unprotect, this would effectively, I can unprotect it from here. So if I just picked a category, I'll just do something real quick here. Unprotect, it's already filled out, so you don't have to worry about it. And so there. So I had to unprotect it first. Now what I need to do is I'm actually going to delete this row because I needed to create new stuff, right? So now this is where I go ahead and I can create my new building program. So I'm not going to go nuts here. I'm just going to do a few, 12, I guess. And as an example, I have some old, an old program that well, a couple, maybe we'll do. Well, so here's one. Here's a small one. Very simple. It's broken down by, department and the offices that are needed, or the spaces and the labs and the conference rooms, square footage totals, all the good stuff. And this is actually a very simple one. Another one that I have to show is a little bit more in depth. But again, so here we have another one. This is this is for a university. And it's got, mathematics, and it's got these different cute tabs here at the bottom. So you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And depending on how good someone may be at Excel, you would go ahead and create a lookup of sorts that would help you with the creation of your spreadsheet. If you're doing a lot of projects for a specific university, or you just do a lot of colleges and science buildings, or architecture buildings, or whatever the case, engineering halls, you might have some repetitive information here that you can bring access to and start to build out some of these templates accordingly. Or if you do a lot of healthcare projects. So it's just to show you that there's some things that can be done. You could speed up the process a wee bit. In this case, I'm going to keep it very simple and start to lay out a few things. So let's just say here we're going to have exam 1, and then I want that, say, a few times, right? And then there's going to be, maybe we'll do a nurse, station, and maybe there's an admin space. Let's see, what else do we need here? There's we'll call it just reception, lobby, pharmacy, and just for the sake of having more stuff in here, we'll call it an operating room, right? And then, for the department, you might have administrators, illustrator, and maybe another one's patient care. Sales. I don't know. I'm just making things up as I get going here. I'm not being too particular about this. Obviously, you would be way more involved with this. But the important things here that I wanted to get across here was that we get information placed, and then we can go ahead and bring this information across. Okay, so, and then for areas, maybe we want, so many square feet for these areas. Maybe the nursing needs 250, and you have the ability to type this in either just the number or with the units attached to the back end if you'd like. It's all entirely up to how you want to do it. So in this case, we need, we'll do, let's say 120, reception needs 75, the lobby needs 250, pharmacy needs 350. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. And the OR, maybe that's 300. All right, let's just see what happens here, okay? So now what we need to do is save our work and go back into our Revit file here. So at this point, I've taken the time to populate my room list. Now we can come back into Revit and import all that information using Spreadsheet Link again. So what I can do now is come back over here and hit open on my room program list file that we just saved. And here we go. Here's all the info that came along with it. If I notice any errors, I can tweak it here as well prior to importing. And we can hit apply. And whether it's the active worksheet or all worksheets, and we hit OK. So here we get a little report that says there were 11 elements updated, created, no errors. Score 1 for the home team. And then you hit close. So it's there. So I can go ahead and shut all this down again. Now, it doesn't place the rooms in the model, but what it does do is it adds them as placeholders. So if I were to go ahead and draw something out here real quick, just for the sake of having something here, right? And let's leave that one alone, and we'll have some fun with it real quick. That. There we go. And sure. Okay. Now when I go to place a room, I can choose from the list. It's already here for me, right? Pretty slick. So I can say this is going to be an exam room. And as you place these, actually, I didn't want that to be the exam room. But as you place these, they get removed from the list. And if you delete them because you put it in the wrong spot, it remembers and puts it back in the list. Oops. So let's go ahead and add a few. Okay, and then maybe this is the admin space. Actually, let's undo that. Delete that one. Let's make that one the nurse place. And change that one to be our admin space. How about that? That sounds better. And then, we'll throw the pharmacy guys in the corner, lobby there, and OR here or something like that. Okay, just for the sake of having something here, right? Here we go. And then, as designs flex and change, move on down the road and put doors in, and we can use the renumbering tool from the same project suite to renumber all the spaces. So next that we've done, now that I've done that, I want to see everything that came in. So I'm going to go ahead and create a schedule for this purpose. And because I didn't have one, I started with something that was pretty empty. So let's go ahead and create a room schedule. And I'm going to call it the room planning schedule. And we're just going to grab the same stuff. So I may, depending on the size of the project, you may want to include level here, depending on where things ended up. Number may matter, may not, but name and department and design area, actual area, room type, comments, whatever else you added. This could also be where you added the calculated value here to find out the difference in design area, you know, like area difference. You know, maybe it's area or whatever you want, really. Design area minus area. Did I spell something wrong? Well, whatever. We don't need to do that, but you could. And then I'll just go ahead and sort by, you know, in this case, level, then by number, I suppose, since that's what you typically would do. And there you go. All the information comes through. And, you know, I've got a few that I never placed, so obviously those are going to show up in the schedule. This one is completely unnecessary, so I'm just going to blow that one away altogether. But here's the rest that everything that we got. And just by doing a visual comparison, you can see I've got some differences here, and that we're going to have a few issues. So, you know, maybe not, because, you know, these may be minimum requirements, in which case, yes, I do have some significant issues, but, you know, they may not be. So, yeah. So this is one way now that I can check live in the Revit model. What we could also do is run that room list report again, and actually kick that back out to Excel and let someone else do a visual comparison in Excel, or, you know, merge that data back into the building program to you know, kind of put that piece back together. But, you know, and as you continue on, what's nice about this is if designs change, you know, square footages change, things are adjusted, things get tweaked, as, you know, commonly happens on projects. I will know that just by looking at the schedule. And periodically, we can go ahead and, like I said, create another spreadsheet. You know, if I need to go through and go to Spreadsheet Link, I can load the settings that we saved, which gives me the report that we have now that matched up with the original thing we sent out to Excel in the first place. And I can go ahead, save this, and run my comparisons that way. And actually, I would probably now need to include area in this list before we get too far ahead of ourselves. So now I can create Excel macros or any other types of calculations that you would run inside of Excel to go ahead and tabulate the rest of the information. Here, I'll save it. Just go ahead and update that. Yep. Thank you. So now that we have this, you know, the next piece here is the equipment planners, maybe in this case. They're going to come in and they've got the equipment that they need to place in each space, you know, and in this case, in a healthcare environment, you know, there's so many pieces of, you know, each room type has a list of equipment that is required to be in that space. You know, and then, you know, the bed, sharps containers, number of cabinets, stools, how many chairs are there, and so on and so forth. All that equipment is specific to the type of room. You know, in a school, you've got classrooms, you know, you've got different sized classrooms depending on the type of class that is being taught in those spaces. You got so many number of seats or number of desks, and, you know, you get what I'm saying. A lot of times there can be that information can be included as well. We should be able to bring that in to an extent, right? So, you know, the first thing that I want to be able to do here is, in a sense, create Again, we're going to create another spreadsheet with some parameters included that will assist us with some of the stuff here in a minute. And I'm actually going to use Hive to grab some content that I had loaded in. So healthcare. And let's see what we got here. Look at that. We get a bed. So I am going to bring, I know this is probably overkill, but I'm going to actually load this one into my project here. And is there anything else in here that I like? Yeah, that table looks good. So I'm going to load these in to my project here, and just need to get them in. So I don't need to be able to use them immediately. I just need to get them in. So now that they're in, sorry. Now we can build our spreadsheets. So there's a couple of different, actually, you know what? I'm going to make sure that we have other things in here too. Okay, good. So we've got a few different families loaded in. And the way this will work is like this. We'll open up Spreadsheet Link, and we need to first grab the appropriate category or categories. In this case, I believe these are all specialty equipment. And actually, hold on a second here. I do need to place one. My apologies. So I'll just put that there. And part of the reason for doing this is so that I get the names of the families in here, because some of these family names are going to be outlandish depending on where you downloaded them from. So I want to make sure that I have these at my disposal. So specialty equipment. Oh, they're not. Yeah, they are. Specialty equipment, furniture. Okay, well, whatever. I'll do furniture since it gives us more options here. So we'll do furniture, and the parameters that we want to include here are going to be family and type. And the reason why we need family and type for this exercise is specifically the name of the family and the type to be used. Okay, so in this case, this crazy 1337, blah, 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 right? I need that so that this process will know which family to use. Okay. And then depending on how many of these families you have and how many different types there are in the project, you may want to include some additional information just to help you out a little bit. Things like length and width, depth. It's entirely up to you what you bring in. I'll just bring it width and depth will be the one that we want in this case. And in some cases, height, that'll be necessary as well, okay? And then just for the sake of having something consistent, we'll sort it accordingly and save these settings as well. Call it the furniture list. Thank you. And we need to save this file. Oops, I didn't mean to hit escape. Save. Furniture list. Oh, we'll do this. Furniture program list. And I will open it because I need to copy data out of here. So now what you could do is go through and place a bunch of the families that you would need. So, you'd place a sharps container and you place a stool and a desk, you know, one of your desk chairs and the bed and the cabinets and whether it's base and upper or just base, a waste basket, you know, you'd start to place some of that content in here so that you have the exact spelling of the names, or, you know, at the very least get a report somehow with all of that stuff in it. And this is why. So that when you come into Room Family Manager, is the next one we're going to open. Where did it go? Here it is, Room Family Manager. I need to be able to input that information into here so that the tool knows which ones to bring in. So presets on this stuff now for to help us do this. There's some parameters that we need to use here as well. Things for room type and the validation status. Now you can create your own parameters for this. They have to be project parameters. So actually they don't have to be project parameters. They could be shared parameters if you wanted them to be. Actually, no, they can't. I take that back. They have to be project parameters. So whatever is in your project parameter list will show up here. So I am just going to go ahead and use this defaults and say RFM room type, RFM validation, and just go with that. It's up to you how you want to do that. You can always add a parameter in this way and customize it. You can go back to the other way and add a parameter, and maybe you need to add it to a couple of different groups too. Go for it. So okay, save my project. Why not? All right. So now I am going to go ahead and build my room types. Well, actually, hold on. Yep, we got it all set up here. So here, if I got to start creating room types, which will help with setting up the different families here. So what I can do is say, we'll grab this exam, grab the exam room and hit create room type. And we call it exam, we'll call it exam 1. So what we need to do is basically we have two options here. One, I can just start typing exam room 1, which is that down there, and then the family that needs to go in it. Okay. So this is where having that spreadsheet was helpful. So furniture list, because now what I have to do, I should probably unlock this too, just to make sure I can get what I need. Yep, good, I'm glad I did that because it was completely cut off. I need to copy this name completely, jump back into our family manager and paste that information in. If there's any sort of misspelling here, it's gonna break and it's not gonna work out. And then I get to specify how many I want. In this case, I just need one of these guys. The next piece here would be, you know, maybe, and then now maybe in the other exam rooms that we have, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 placed, all of those would need the same bed, right? So I can do that along with the quantity for this, okay? Now, as we get going, I can go ahead and save this and let's see, we'll call it room and equipment. Oops, equipment list. Okay, and if it helps, we can now give that to someone else to work on for us. So it comes into a format like this, and they can go ahead and populate it. And now we can build a template here maybe that has all of the families available, so that we can go ahead and push, I can actually take this, where to go? This furniture list here, and I can hit move or copy and move it to a different, or copy it in a sense. Maybe I should just do that. Yes, create a copy, room and equipment list, and we'll say move to end. Okay, so now that's Excel being picky. But effectively, if I had more info in here, that would have worked. Apparently I didn't have enough data. So at any rate, now I can type in exam room 1 again, and now maybe this needs a waste basket. Type in waste basket. Now this family is not loaded, but maybe I need it to be, maybe we just want it to be a simple 12-inch by 12-inch by 12-inch trash can. Okay, we can go ahead and actually insert dimensional values for things. Okay, and the room family manager will create a generic placeholder for this information, saving us the hassle of having to go ahead and put that together ourselves. And actually in this case, I'm gonna have this room with 2 beds. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Okay. And now we're gonna reload that spreadsheet in here, so it shows my update. Okay, so now I've got another couple more rooms. I've got changed the quantity. We've changed our dimensions here. And I can now go ahead and assign the room types. So here I need to make sure that this is 2, 1, 3, 4. And for the family placement, we can make sure that things are gonna work out the way we want. And cross your fingers, hopefully I didn't screw this up. We hit place families. So now you're going to see this message pop up from time to time, depending on the number of families that you place in the views, and how many, if you've got more than one of a particular family, you'll see this. And so depending on how big your project is, you might have to hit that a few times. So here's what happened. It went ahead and placed content in those 4 rooms. So for the sake of showing you some stuff, being able to show you some stuff, I'm going to move these tags out of the way. I told it to do the leader. Okay. I guess that button doesn't work anymore. There it is. Okay. Anyway, so here's the table. So what it does is it puts it in the middle of the room. And so now I can move the table here. Here's that trash can that I can put somewhere, right? Here's the table. There's another table. So, you know what? I guess I didn't really need that there. I'm going to delete that one, and then here's another table. We'll go ahead and put that there. And we'll do that one down there. Okay, right. So you lay it out, things come up, designs change, requirements change. Users will be users, and sometimes the delete button creeps up on us and we accidentally delete some stuff. We want to be able to review this information. Maybe I need to change out a few things like a trash can, or get the right family in there. Okay, so there's a couple of different things I'm about to do. So back inside our room family manager here, I have this validate, place families and validate tab. I can actually validate everything, and based on the criteria that we defined in the spreadsheet, the tool is running back and checking on that, and it's saying, hey, wait a second, this is supposed to have more families in it. And it's noticing that, hey, they took that table out, okay? Or it's missing. So I can go back and place that, get that placed back in here again, okay? We can put it back, or I can go back and update my spreadsheet, okay? So there's a way of knowing if and when things get deleted or get moved outside of the room. Maybe it wasn't deleted, it was moved to a different room. I can check that out. Now maybe we need to replace a family, right? So that trash can, maybe I need to replace that with something else, okay? Well, I don't have anything here. So let's go ahead and load something in real quick. Maybe I can find something here. Let's see what Autodesk has for me. Trash can. Tash can. Good job, Chris. Trash. Let's try that again. That's massive. But for the sake of an example, I will use it. So now that it's in my project, I will go back to Room Family Manager, Swamp Families, and instead of using this generic box, I will go ahead and place this monster. Where'd it go? Well, that didn't work. So just for the sake of showing you that it works, I'm going to put it just a desk in its place and hit swap. And that didn't work either. Did I go too fast? I believe I did. I did. Ah. Yeah, see, it's missing it. Okay. Swap. Oh, does it not have it in there? There it goes. Okay. So it worked. Thank God. So now we have the ability to kind of unleash this on our equipment planners or our space planners when they don't know exactly what the Revit family name needs to be, or what the type name is, or either of that, for example. And they can just open up an Excel spreadsheet that we save for them with the list of rooms, and they just type in what it needs to be. And then it will generate a generic placeholder. And then once we actually verify that we have the right Revit family, we can go back in and replace it after the fact. So we're not limited, we don't have to be knowledgeable of the content library to get this to work. So, so a template in a sense for this could be, we could marry up two different spreadsheets, one that is this format, the second one that is basically a list of all the families that you would use maybe in a clinic, or maybe in a middle school, or in a multifamily housing place, right? And then you can go ahead and start to put this stuff together and synchronize it up a bit. So while someone else is laying out a project file, another person can be entering in data, so letting us know which rooms need which pieces of furniture or which pieces of content. So that just about does it, actually. Look at that. So let's get this back open again. Look at me go. All right. So, you know, so the whole point of this webinar today was to give you guys the introductory steps to get some stuff set up to continue moving forward. You can add as many parameters as you need to. You can complicate this. You can add as much information to this as possible. And it'll take some time to set up, you know, as we were here, what, 45, 50 minutes now. And so we got a few things going. You spend another 45, 50 minutes on each one of these things, and you have something that can be distributed to your end users and your designers that could actually be useful for them on projects. And so, and it's a repeatable process. That's the best part, right? I can use this on multiple hospitals or clinics or pharmacies or you know, college facilities or office buildings, or you name it. You get a building program, chances are there's a way we can make these two tools work and this process work. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you.